In this episode of Behind the Line, we're taking a trip on Port Phillip Bay to meet the Water Police. Now, this squad's been around since the mid-1800s and they work really hard to keep our waterways safe. Let's just hope that the weather holds up for us today.
Hi, I'm Matthew Webb from the Water Police. I've been here for approximately 4 years now. We're about to go on one of our newest boats, VP10. It's named William Sharrock. It was after a member of the Water Police who unfortunately died many years ago. It's our newest boat in the fleet. We're going to go out for a patrol and show you some of the features and what we do at the Water Police. We've got our mobile data terminal that all the police vehicles have. We can check people's history with us, their licence status as well. We can also bring up their photos, which is excellent for us on the water. We've also got a camera similar to the police chopper. It's just a standard video camera that we can pan around with and zoom in and out. And for search features, we can actually run it as a FLIR forward-located infrared camera. So if there's anyone in the water, at the moment they'll come up in white, so it just detects heat. And so the ship's obviously putting off heat and the water's black, so if we're finding anyone in the water, they'll come up at a different colour. And also a side scanner so we can have a bit of a look on the bottom and see if there's any objects that shouldn't be there, which is handy for, again, for searches for sunken boats or if we're up doing port security in the Yarra River.
It's not long before our crew stops 4 men aged in their 20s who are on their way to Black Rock to go fishing.
Who's the skipper today?
Skipper today?
Yep. You've got your bay licence there? Yeah, they're PFD3s, they're not PFD1s. We're just going to go and have another chat to them. The life jackets or personal flotation devices. PFDs they held up for a Type 3, required to have a Type 1 under the Marine Safety Act. So we'll go and have a look, and if they are PFD3s and they don't have any of the right type, they'll probably be issued with an infringement notice. So these ones, you want a PFD1. These are just the ski jackets here, they've got no collar on them. Yeah, so they're perfect for, you can use them on your PWCs when you're water skiing. If you want one that's a PFD1, it'll tell you if it's a PFD1. So you'll need to obviously have one. It's got a collar on it, so if you're unconscious, it'll keep you afloat in the water and upright. Whereas those ones, they'll keep you afloat, but they won't keep your face out of the water if you're unconscious.
That's right, Lisa. Yeah.
It's not fake, is it?
No, it doesn't seem to be, but it's just extremely faded. Beautiful. So go back in, get those done, get your rego fixed up, and swap those life jackets. Again, it's because if you go in the water, we need to find, even if we find you unconscious, we can still pull you in those. Yeah, we'll just post it out to you. So just go back in. It'll be 282 roughly. So
And no demerit points here?
no demerit points. Not linked to your licence. All right.
Thank you very much.
So head back in, get those jackets fixed, and head out and go fishing. Okay, so they had a few issues wrong. They didn't have their bucket on board, and they had the wrong type of PFD. So we've given them a warning on the bucket, and the skipper will get a fine for not having the right required type of PFDs. And they're heading back in now to get the right PFDs before they head out and go fishing.
There are 60 members of the Water Police. Most are based at Williamstown, but there are officers at Paynesville and Benalla. The crew has access to 20 boats and they attend about 1,200 jobs each year.
We're responsible for all searches on any waterway in Victoria. So that can include Western Port Bay, Bass Strait, Port Phillip Bay and all the inland lakes, Lake Epilock, for example. We have a lot of jobs. So if anyone goes missing, we're responsible for either attending or coordinating it. We use volunteer agencies as well. We'll also investigate any marine accident if it's involving a vessel, so boats and PWC collisions. Fortunately, we get some over summer.
Now, if someone wants to join the Water Police, I guess what do they have to do?
All the minimum requirements is have swim to a bronze medallion standard, so it's generally a 400 metre swim. You've also got to have your recreational boat licence with a PWC endorsement.
And a strong stomach.
Strong stomach, yes. Winter, especially the southwesterly winds, it can get interesting.
Behind these doors is where some of the biggest crimes have been solved. I'm at the Victoria Police Forensic Centre in Macleod, so if you're curious as to how science is used to track down criminals, then this episode of Behind the Line is for you. Almost 400 staff work here, some swarm police, the others scientists. They represent 16 science disciplines including fingerprints, DNA, material analysis and disaster victim identification. Carl Kent is the man in charge and he says public interest in their work has grown dramatically thanks to TV shows like CSI, but he admits he finds it difficult to watch them.
Some of the techniques that are deployed on the show are very similar to, if not the same as techniques that are used by forensic scientists across the board. However, typically what's different is the number of roles. So they typically condense, say, 5 different jobs that a specialist might undertake into one to make that person be far more interesting. They also tend to compress time dramatically. They tend to deal with one case during an episode, whereas in this laboratory we receive over 55,000 exhibits a year that we are processing and conducting different examinations on. We're attending over 65,000 crime scenes in a year. So the volume of the business is entirely different. And of course we're far more attractive. That's the other thing I'd say.
Major crimes including homicides, rapes, hit runs and aggravated burglaries rely on forensics. This is where secretly recorded phone conversations are reviewed, as well as CCTV footage such as these 2 bandits who were caught blowing up an ATM. Tim Bate works in the forensic audio-visual unit.
It's a very young area of forensic science, the video side of it. So there were all these different techniques that had to be brought in that we had to develop. So I've been able to be a big part of that. I get in cases that haven't been done before, that they don't know how to do exactly. Might have an idea, but no one's quite sure how to do it, and so we get to find new techniques and new ways.
Moving on, and this is where forensic officers train. Mock crime scenes are set up and staff have tasks ranging from examining blood splatter to finding fingerprints, hair and fibre samples. Sergeant Steve Dunn has been a fingerprint expert for the past 25 years.
It's a fascinating job. Every day is a different challenge. No 2 fingerprints are the same. We obviously spend a lot of time in the laboratory with various lights, and we have lasers, we have multicoloured light sources, we have high-end cameras, we have various methods and procedures that we use to develop fingerprints. Don't leave them, I'll get you.
So if you think this is a career you'd like to pursue, from all accounts it appears you must have 2 character traits.
Clearly a painstaking eye for detail and an ability to be very, very patient about undertaking your work.
Hi, I'm Yvette Gray. Well, I'm particularly excited about this episode of Behind the Line because we get to meet some of the furry members of Victoria Police, that is the Dog Squad. There are currently 38 canines who have made the cut. They're German Shepherds, Labradors and 1 Rottweiler. Today we meet one of the star performers and his handler.
Hop. Down! My name is Michael Collins. I'm a Senior Constable of Police attached with the Police Dog Squad. And this is Police Dog Flynn. He's a 3.5-year-old German Shepherd. He's been bred through our breeding program. His dad was a police officer, or police dog, and he's got 3 half brothers that are police dogs. I've had him since he was 1.5 years old, and he's been operational for nearly 3 years now. He's a general purpose dog, which means he tracks offenders and searches for offenders, and also a critical incident dog, so he does a lot of work with the critical incident response team and the SOG. The general role of the Dog Squad is provide a support service for other operational police, and that will be anything from the members working on the van up to the special operations group or search and rescue. We'll provide services such as searching or tracking for people, or as a general crowd control as well. Well, Police Dog Flynn does several disciplines, and 2 of those are searching and tracking, and they involve using his nose to smell out human scent. The searching involves an air scent and the tracking involves a ground scent. And what we're seeing with recent developments in technology, that there's nothing on the horizon that's going to be able to replace the the nose of a dog in terms of finding people.
What do you enjoy about your job as a handler?
I actually enjoy assisting the other units, especially the general purpose or general duties units. We interact with them quite a lot. We basically provide a service to them. So if they need us, they'll call us and we'll come and help, or if we're in the area, we'll just give an assist anyway. Finish, mate. The unique thing about being in the dog squad is that the dog lives at home with you. So you become quite accustomed at him being home with the family and the kids, and him just being a placid nature at home, and then he knows when he's at work he's quite a good work dog and can really differentiate between the two.
How hard is it to train them up?
We have help from senior handlers here that go through a 6 to 8 month training course with us. A lot of dogs won't make the cut for the training, but it involves all our discipline from general obedience to searching and tracking and some criminal work as well.
And what about the general public? Because they can play a role, can't they, in helping to look after the puppies when they're younger?
Yeah, we have a puppy walking program. As part of our breeding program here, we'll send dogs out to someone that's applied to our office here, and they'll go out from as early as 8 or 9 weeks old, and they'll stay with them, and they'll be overseen by our sergeants at the office, and they'll assist in the upbringing of the dog. This is one of our potential police dogs. It's Pup Isaac. He's a 12-week-old German Shepherd who at the moment we're assessing to see his potential to become a police dog in the future. In a short time this dog will go out to a puppy walker who will have him for the next 10 to 12 months, whose job will be to train him little things, a little bit of obedience, but mainly to keep him fit and to keep him walking and just keep him interested.
How competitive is it to become a handler and get into the dog squad?
It's probably a sought after position. There's only about 32 handlers in the office out of the 12,000 police officers. It tends to be more of a common goal of the younger member because it's such a physical job. And at the end of the day, you work from home and you get to get all the good jobs, really.
So what's the best thing you love about your job?
I'd have to be working with my dog. At the end of the day, we have our differences on some nights, but when it comes together, it's a really good job to have.
Investigating a death is an enormous responsibility, and our homicide detectives do an outstanding job in seeking answers for victims' families. Well, today we're at their headquarters in St Kilda Road, where we exclusively chat to the man in charge. Detective Inspector John Potter joined the Victoria Police Force as a cadet with his twin brother at the age of 16. More than 40 years on, with experience working the van, detective duties, management, policy work and training, he's now in charge of the Victoria Police Homicide Squad.
Primarily, I'm motivated by working with really professional, motivated people and seeing the fantastic results they achieve, and in some small way being part of those results. And it's a real buzz to achieve that. But the other thing I like to see is the caring way our investigators deal with grieving families.
So tell me about the homicide squad.
Well, we've got 60 odd members attached to the squad, and they comprise mainly detectives but also some intelligence support staff, and they're made up of 4 teams, 3 of which are response teams. So they're the people that turn out in the middle of the night to any point in the state of Victoria to investigate these jobs. And we've also got a suspicious missing persons crew and cold case crew.
The homicide squad currently has a 98% success rate in solving cases. Have you noticed any particular times of the year when it's more busy for you?
Some weekends we will see 3 jobs come in, and that stretches us, and other weekends none. So we've looked at this over the course of the years, and we can't establish any earthly trend that we can predict what's going to happen.
Detective Inspector Potter has been the face of Victoria Police for some high-profile cases, including the rape and murder of Jill Meagher.
Every investigation that involves the death of a person is a priority for us and for Victoria Police. And that's because there's a family, there are friends, there are relatives involved that need answers with regard to whatever's happened. So each investigation is treated equally in that sense. But there are some investigations where there's more pressure, as you say, in terms of the profile of the investigation than others. For me, I see my role as the front line for that pressure. So in other words, obviously briefing my senior officers as to what's happening and keeping them appraised of the progress of the investigation, but also maintaining that public face for the squad. And that becomes quite a challenge at times, because the need to provide that update has to be balanced with the need to maintain the confidentiality and integrity of the investigation.
Another case is the baffling disappearance of Boronia schoolgirl Siriakorn Bung Siraboon, who vanished on her way to school 2 years ago. A dedicated task force has been set up to find out what happened to her.
We've been keeping the family updated on our progress. At this stage, they are still holding out hope that Bung is alive. We're hoping to provide them with some answers at some stage.
What makes a good homicide detective?
Well, the first thing for us is a person that is an experienced detective. So that means typically we'd be seeing new people coming to our squad with 7 or 8 years of service as a police officer and having done some years as a detective. But moreover, we're after people that are professional, have an understanding of how an investigation is conducted, people that show empathy, that are good teamwork people, and people that can actually get things done because they're motivated. So all those attributes are necessary for any detective in Victoria Police. We're just fortunate enough to have a real list of people wanting to get into the squad, and as a consequence there's a motivation once they get there to succeed.
So when you're not at work, what do you do with your time?
The teams tend to socialise amongst themselves. For me, it's about that time when I can turn off from work and go home to my family, and to just be a normal person in the suburbs, living my normal life, and not to be thinking too much about work.
Hi, I'm Yvette Gray, 3AW's police reporter. As part of a new online series, we're going to go behind the scenes of Victoria's emergency services. Today, it's the Police Air Wing, one of the most highly sought after positions in the force. We're here at Essendon Airport, where we meet one of the key members.
My name's Michael Brooks. I'm a Senior Constable of Police. I'm a Tactical Flight Officer at the Victoria Police Air Wing. I've been here for about 12 years. I've come from a general duties background, had about 7 years of policing in general duties, and then came to the Victoria Police Air Wing in about the year 2000. I'm principally involved in the navigation of the aircraft and the day-to-day sort of running of the helicopter in conjunction with either a paramedic on the air ambulance duties, or with the police force with another tactical flight officer. The position we're in here is the flare operator's position, so you'll notice that there's 2 screens in front of them. The one on the left depicts the images that we're getting from the forward-looking infrared camera, and on the right is a moving map screen. This is a fairly modern piece of equipment that we've had for perhaps 18 months, but it features as I say, the forward-looking infrared and also a daylight camera, so that we can change between or toggle between those functions dependent on the type of mission that we're involved in. We could be this afternoon searching for a boat in Malakuta, or going to Mildura to take some sort of photographs. I think there was one where there was a fellow down at Wilson's Promontory who he'd taken his sons out fishing, and they managed to tip their boat over at night, and one of the sons, a 12-year-old son, had swum across to raise the alarm and the 10-year-old boy was looking after his dad, who was dying in his arms, and we flew down, found the father. We managed to administer the first aid and got him home, and they were able to, you know, spend the rest of their time with their dad. So I think that's probably the most rewarding sort of. On the Sunday after the fires, I was called in early. We had no real idea of the extent of it, and so we spent the next sort of 2 weeks sort of flying around, and I still think about that, and it's a very difficult sort of to come to terms with the level of devastation. I mean, it was a very, very difficult sort of thing. Some of the ambulance tasks that we do, where you know, you see the devastation of people who are involved in it, is extraordinarily difficult. So I think the human aspect of what we do is very difficult.
We're at the Victoria Police Mounted Branch today to meet some of its members, including 19-year-old Harry here. Victoria Police has been using horses since the 1800s, and today we find out why they're still as important today. There are 21 horses and 28 police members in the Mounted Branch. The horses are aged between 6 and 23 years. On average, they weigh 650 kilograms each, and one horse is strong enough to push 10 people.
Well, the role of the horse, it really hasn't changed over the years. We basically do police work from the back of a horse instead of in a police car.
Their stables have been based in South Melbourne for more than 100 years, and today the horses are being put through their paces in preparation for a rally in the city.
We've done a lot of protests attended a lot of protest rallies over the years, things like Occupy Melbourne, ROCON, the two recent ones, World Economic Forum, G20, so yeah, we do attend a lot of protests.
The warm-up drills involve the horses walking in file. They are also subjected to noise and banners being waved at them so they can easily adapt when out on the job.
Oh, it's a very special horse that can do the job of being a police horse. They have to have a quiet nature. They also have to be a big horse, a minimum of 16 hands, so that they've got a good presence about them. And as I said, very special horse. Only about 10% of the horses that we try actually can make it to be a police horse. That's a yeah.
Victoria Police used to breed their own horses, but now they source them elsewhere and are currently on the lookout for new recruits. Each horse is put through a 3-month trial, and if successful, they undergo 12 months intensive training before they hit the streets on official duty. Generally, they retire around the age of 20.
So I'd imagine it'd be quite a popular squad to try and get into. Just how hard is it to be a rider?
Look, we like people to have a riding background before they come to us. It goes in waves. Sometimes we have a lot of people trying to get in at the same time, and other times not so many.
It's obvious those who work here love their job.
I've been involved with the Mounted Branch for over 20 years. I'm very lucky that I've been able to do, I guess, my hobby as my work, which is fantastic. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed my many years here.
I'm Yvette Gray. In this episode of Behind the Line, we're at Southern Cross Station to meet some protective service officers. Now, it's hard to believe, but it's been 1 year since the first PSOs were deployed across Victoria's railway network. Now there's almost 300 PSOs working across 35 stations, so let's go and see what they do. Former dentist Amit Kumar and bricklayer Scott Barth are the protective service officers on patrol tonight. The station is particularly busy due to the footy and rugby crowds. This evening they're on the hunt for a man taking inappropriate photos of young girls.
The description is pretty broad. Dark shorts and a blue t-shirt. That meets a lot of people, so you've got to be very polite because you don't want to be rude and invasive, and I'm holding a big camera. So, big SLR camera. So, if we see anyone matching that description, we've just got to be polite and contact the constables that are here as well, just for questioning.
During the 8-hour shift, their job is to ensure all commuters feel safe. Those who break the law risk an on-the-spot fine or arrest. This man has been spotted smoking in an undercover area.
Right, that's why we come to speak to you. It is an actual offence. It's $207 fine.
Shit.
Right, so
honestly, I know, I'm not going to lie to you,
yep.
I knew, but I wasn't aware, because a couple of things on my mind,
yep.
I wasn't aware where I actually was.
Okay, yep.
I know you can smoke out here.
Yeah. No, that's all right.
I didn't realise I was undercover.
No, I fully understand. Look, what I'll do, I'll get your details if you don't mind,
sure.
And then we'll jot it down that we had to speak to you, right. And that's a problem. Just put it on the sheet. So, we're not going to give you a ticket because look, you're just in the wrong mindset. Mine's elsewhere. Fully understand, mate.
Thank you very much.
No, that's our pleasure.
Then there's what's known as Smokers' Corner on the corner of Spencer and Collins Streets. Here, Amit says they prefer not to fine people if possible.
But if there is a continuation of offence, only then they get the tickets. Otherwise, we use lots of discretion and we just move them off. Sometimes we do record the details to keep on record that who was the person we had a word with, but that's it.
PSOs undergo 12 weeks training at the Victoria Police Academy, which includes the same firearms and defensive tactics training as police. They say their training prepares them well for the job, and the public has reacted positively to their presence.
We had a lady from Box Hill. She came to us the other day and told us she has a teenage daughter who comes home late from work every day, and she was worried about her security, but she came to us and said, now, because there are PSOs at Box Hill train station, she's not worried anymore. We met another couple from West Footscray. They came to City for midnight mass, and they said that they knew PSOs would be around, so they were able to use public transport without any fees. So every day we get positive feedback. It's pretty satisfying.
More than 500 people have applied to become PSOs since a major recruitment campaign began in January. What's clear is these guys love their job.
I love talking to people, meeting new people. I don't disrespect people. I treat them the way I want to be spoken to, and 95% of them are great, and they're happy to tell you a story. When you tell you, look after your safety, they think you're after tickets or trying to catch someone doing something wrong. It's not the case. Safety is our main priority, and if you feel safe here with us, you're not doing anything wrong. We can just talk to you because we are just normal people. We're everyday Joe Blow. Just because we've got the uniform on doesn't make us nasty or anything. I find that fascinating that people look at the uniform and automatically think we're out looking for something bad, but we're not. We're just trying to make everybody safe and happy, and I love meeting new people, talking to them, because they're exciting.
So would you recommend this job to other people?
Yeah, definitely. I would say come forward, make a difference, join the Victoria Police as PSOs. Yeah, it's a good job.